Hello everyone, myself Sujata. Hope you have gone through the other parts of the chapter. In the last part, we discussed what is democracy, important features of democracy, and the role of a ruler, people, election, and form of government. In this session, we will discuss about why democracy is considered as the best form of government and arguments for and against democracy, broader meaning of democracy, and about representative democracy. First, we'll discuss about arguments against democracy or demerits of democracy. In a democracy, leaders keep changing, and this leads to instability. Democracy is all about political competition and power play. There is no scope for morality and honest dealings. Self-interest and immediate gain become more important than social or national interest. It is not easy to arrive at quick decisions. Many people have to be consulted in decision making, and it delays decisions. Elected leaders do not often know the best interest of the people, and again it leads to bad decisions. The electoral competition in a democracy leads to corruption or corrupt practices. Democracy goes by majority rule or judgment. Ordinary people don't know what is good or what steps are needed to be taken for social welfare. So some of the arguments against democracy include leaders keep changing in a democracy and this leads to instability. There is a constant competition and power play. No scope for morality and honest dealings. And it is very difficult to arrive at quick decisions as many people have to be consulted in decision making, and leaders often fails to identify the interest of the people, and this leads to corruption or corrupt practices, and ordinary people don't know what is good or what steps are needed to be taken for social welfare. Now let us discuss some of the arguments in favor of democracy. A democratic government is a more accountable form of government. Why is it so? Democracy is better than any other form of government in responding to the needs of the people. We'll consider an example. China's famine of 1958 to 1961 was the worst recorded famine in world history. Nearly 3 crore people died in this famine. India's economic condition was not better than China. Yet, India did not have a famine of the kind China had. Economists think that this was a result of different government policies in the two countries. The existence of democracy in India made the Indian government respond to food scarcity in a way that the Chinese government did not. No large-scale famine has ever taken place in an independent and democratic country. If China too had multi-party elections, an opposition party, and a press free to criticize the government, then so many people may not have died in the famine. This example very clearly brings out one of the reasons why democracy is considered the best form of government. A non-democratic government may and can respond to the people's needs, but it all depends on the wishes of the people who rule. A democracy requires that the rulers have to attend to the needs of the people. Another argument in favor of democracy is that democracy improves the quality of decision making. That is, Democracy is based on consultation and discussion. A democratic decision always involves many persons, discussions, and meetings. When a number of people put their heads together, they are able to point out possible mistakes in any decision. This takes time, but there is a big advantage in taking time over important decisions. This reduces the chances of rash or irresponsible decisions. Democracy allows us to correct our own mistakes. The advantage in democracy is that such mistakes cannot be hidden for long. There is a space for public discussion on these mistakes and there is a room for correction. Either the rulers have to change their decisions or the rulers can be changed. So we can say that democracy improves the quality of decision making. Another argument in favor of democracy is that democracy provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts. Let us have a look at it. In any society, people are bound to have differences of opinions and interest. These differences are particularly sharp in a country like ours, which has an amazing social diversity. People belong to different regions, they speak different languages, and they practice different religions and have different caste. So it is very clear that there will be differences of opinions and interest. They look at the world very differently and have different preferences. The preferences of one group can clash with those of the other groups. Different groups can live with one another peacefully. In diverse country like India, democracy keeps our country together. Sometimes the conflict can be solved by brutal power. Different groups may not be able to live together for long in such a way. Whichever group is more powerful will dictate its terms and others will have to accept that. But that would lead to resentment and unhappiness. So democracy provides the only peaceful solution to this problem. In democracy, no one is a permanent winner. No one is a permanent loser. Different groups can live with one another peacefully in a democracy. In diverse country like India, democracy keeps our country together. Democracy enhances the dignity of citizens also. Democracy is based on the principle of political equality, stating that the poorest and the least educated have the same status as the rich and the educated. People are not the subjects of a ruler. They are the rulers themselves. Even when they make mistakes, they are responsible for their own mistakes. Thus, democracy enhances the dignity of citizens. So we get an answer why democracy is considered as the best form of government. Democracy cannot get us everything and is not the solution to all problems, but it is clearly better than any other alternative. It is a government responsive to the needs of the people. It offers better chances of a good decision. It is likely to respect people's own wishes and allows different kinds of people to live together. Even when it fails to do some of these things, it allows a way of correcting its mistakes and offers more dignity to all citizens. There is a space for public discussion on these mistakes and a room for correction. Either the rulers have to change their decisions or the rulers can be changed. For these reasons, we can say that democracy is the best form of government. Now let us understand the broader meaning of democracy. The broader meaning of democracy allows us to see the operation of democracy beyond government. Democracy is a form of government in which people's representatives sit together to take decisions. So in a democracy, every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. So elections are held to choose the representatives, and native people or citizens are allowed to participate in elections. Democracy as a principle can be applied to any sphere of life. This can be applied to a government or a family or any other organization. For example, in a democratic family, everyone's opinion matters. That is, all the members of the family sit together to arrive at a consensus or decision. Now let us consider a democratic classroom. In a democratic classroom, all the students get a chance to put questions to the teachers and they have a democratic temperament. So we can conclude by saying that in a true democracy, no one goes to bed hungry or denied equal information, basic education, and equal resources. Now let us understand what is a representative democracy. The most common form of democracy in modern times is representative democracy. In the countries we call democracy, all the people do not rule. A majority is allowed to take decisions on behalf of all the people. It is a form of government in which people's representatives sit together to take decisions. Even the majority does not rule directly. The majority of people rule through their elected representatives. So, a representative democracy becomes necessary because modern democracies comprise a large number of people. It is physically impossible for them to sit together at a place and take collective decisions. So, they all have representatives. All the citizens do not have the time, the desire, the skills to take part in all the decisions. So representative democracy is significant in contemporary world for the following reasons. Let us sum up what we have learned in this session. We discussed why democracy is considered as the best form of government, and even discussed about arguments against democracy and arguments for democracy, as well as the broader meanings of democracy and why representative democracy is significant in contemporary world. Hope you have understood. See the video repeatedly and learn each and every aspect explained. Thank you.